The city of Kansas City passed a new law that denies landlords the ability to reject a tenant based on the fact that they have a Section 8 voucher, the fact that they have an eviction on their record, or the fact that they have a poor credit history. But a politician in St. Louis decided that they wanted to fight against that law by passing a statewide law saying that local governments couldn't pass such laws. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's going over the fact that there is a person who has common sense in the state of Missouri, okay? And it's a person out of the St. Louis metropolitan area, so I'm glad that at least somebody somewhere said, hey, this is ridiculous. We cannot allow local governments to pass these sort of far left-leaning progressive laws that will destroy the real estate market, destroy the housing market of the cities where they're enacted, okay? So Kansas City recently, I covered a video where I was saying how Kansas City, Missouri was looking at passing a law that would make it illegal for landlords to deny Section 8 tenants, right? But not only that, but they also wanted to pass a law that made it so that landlords couldn't deny tenants based on their eviction or credit history as well. So they take away landlords' ability to do tenant screening and put the best possible applicants into their properties. And I'm 100% opposed to that. So they passed that law, okay? It got passed. And the only way that they could fight back at this point was to pass a statewide law invalidating the local law. And that's what they're trying to do. And I'm glad that we have people who are looking at this as a bigger problem, because not only, like you think, okay, well, this is going to be limited to Kansas City, right? Well, it will spread. It will spread out, and it will be in the county, it'll be in the neighboring counties. It'll go into the other major metropolitan areas. And next thing you know, we've got, just the same situation that they have on the coasts where housing isn't being built. People don't want to be landlords. Housing is unaffordable because of the dumb laws they have in place. Now, I'm 100% opposed to this. If there's something that you can do to help tenants out, well, this isn't it. This is not it. And because this is off of the backs of the landlords, this is making it so we have to take it up the butt in order for these people to have affordable. I have to put this person in my property who has an eviction on their record because I need to help them out. But then I have to lose tens of thousands of dollars because they didn't pay their rent. Well, gee, that worked out perfect for them. That didn't work out for me. And what does that do? What does that do to me as a small landlord? It encourages me to get out of the business. Because I don't want to participate in a business that forces me to rent to people who I don't want to rent to. People who are not credit worthy. People who don't pay their bills. People who have evictions. They've literally been evicted before. And you want me to do that? You want me to participate in programs like government welfare programs I don't want to participate in? What's next? How far is it going to go? Where do our property rights come into play? And that's why we need, state level laws on the books that say, hey, local jurisdictions cannot pass this sort of nonsense. Okay, we can't have little California inside the Kansas city limits. Okay, it's dumb. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. Do you think that, statewide laws that invalidate these local laws, you think this is a good thing? A little over a year ago, I believe that there was something similar happening in the state of Florida because the county where Orlando is at was trying to pass rent control. So the statewide, they had to, the statewide politicians had to step in Florida and say, hey, these local jurisdictions can't pass rent control within the state of Florida. Rent control is illegal. We're not going to allow it. Housing's not affordable, but there has to be a better solution than rent control, which, will totally tank the economy, destroy the housing market. And, that is completely unworkable. And so they passed it. And you know what? I'm positive that this sort of legislation will pass in the state of Missouri. Okay, positive. But that doesn't mean, though, that this isn't a sign of bad things to come. And, I'm I'm looking at all of the things that these ridiculous tenant organizations, these stupid politicians are saying, and all I know is, hey, this is a sign that maybe it's time for me to get out of Missouri, okay? Maybe at least the Kansas City area isn't the place to be investing anymore. So anyway, let me get into the first article, and it talks about the new law that they passed up in the Kansas City area. So this article is coming from kcur.org, and it says, Kansas City renters who use housing vouchers now have more protection against discrimination. Yeah, and they go over a little bit more of the details, so let's get into it. Landlords in Kansas City will no longer be able to reject a potential renter because they use a housing voucher after the city council voted to outlaw the practice. Under the source of income discrimination ban, passed 10-3, landlords cannot reject a tenant solely based on how they pay rent. That would include Section 8 housing vouchers and other forms of government assistance. Council members Kevin O'Neill, Nathan Willett, and Wes Rogers voted against the legislation. Kansas City now joins 85 cities, 21 counties, and 17 states that have banned source of income discrimination. Research has shown the practice disproportionately impacts people of color, particularly black renters, by making it more difficult for them to obtain housing. Yeah, well, it may impact black renters because more of them are on Section 8, but this isn't a thing that is targeted towards any specific racial group. And there's plenty of people who use Section 8 who are not black, who are of other races. So that's kind of just a catch-all because they like to throw out, oh, well, see, the landlords who are doing this are racist. That's garbage, okay? What this really has to do with is not wanting to participate in this government bureaucratic nightmare, okay? I know what the Section 8 program is like up in Jackson County, Missouri, because I am a landlord of Section 8 tenants up in Jackson County, Missouri, okay? And it, cost me, at the beginning of last year, it cost me over $1,000 to fix stuff that the tenant broke in their unit just so that I could continue to receive payments from Section 8, okay? Yeah, as they did another inspection, like, oh, this broke, that broke. And I'm like, well, that stuff wasn't broke when the tenant moved in. The tenant broke it, It just annoys me. It annoys me. And I don't get any higher than the rent that I get for all my other tenants that are not Section 8. So I have to jump through all these hoops, make all these repairs, do all this ridiculous nonsense just so that I can participate in a program that doesn't give me any incentive over my other tenants who are not Section 8. Well, that's why I said I'm not going to participate in Section 8 going forward. Okay, those are the last tenants that I put in my units who are on vouchers. But I don't invest in Kansas City, Missouri. I invest in Independence, Missouri. So right next to Kansas City, same county, but not underneath this law, fortunately, because I don't want to participate in Section 8. And I may very well sell my properties now based on the fact that I believe that this could easily spread over into Independence. So anyway, yeah, so I don't like this law, but it says here that I think it says the legislation also prohibits landlords from rejecting tenants based solely on their credit score, previous evictions, convictions, or arrests. So I can't reject somebody solely based on a conviction? Well, what if they were convicted of murder or, certain assault against children? Okay? I think I should have the right to instant rejection and tell it to their face. Heck no, I don't want you up in my property ever. Okay? What a ridiculous law. What kind of, it doesn't even seem like this should be constitutional. So yeah, this is absolutely ridiculous. And fortunately, immediate pushback from politicians on the other side of the state, mind you, who saw that this was a threat. So the second article I have for you today, it's coming from St. Louis Today, and it says, Missouri bill targets local housing protections for Section 8 renters. Okay, so let's see what this one says about the whole topic. A state representative from St. Louis County believes local governments shouldn't require landlords to accept tenants who use federal housing assistance vouchers. A proposal by Representative Ben Keithley, a Republican from Chesterfield, would block local ordinances that prohibit landlords from turning down tenants because they use federal housing assistance vouchers, commonly known as Section 8. The House General Laws Committee is scheduled to consider the legislation Tuesday, days after the City Council of Kansas City approved an ordinance that will require acceptance of housing vouchers. The bill itself doesn't stop anyone from taking Section 8 vouchers, Keithley said Friday. Parties to a private contract really don't need the government interfering, saying, well, you must accept this. 100% agree. But you know what? I hope that this law addresses the other parts of that Kansas City law, which are absolute garbage, which is, you can't reject somebody based on their eviction history or their credit history. That is garbage, okay? You're taking away a landlord's ability to screen tenants. If you can't screen tenants, if you can't put good tenants up in your property, that isn't just bad for landlords, that's bad for the other tenants. I own a bunch of duplexes. Imagine one side, I've got a tenant in there who has a criminal history, okay? And the tenant on the other side is getting robbed or beaten or, assaulted by the tenant and their next door neighbor. And, don't you think they have a right to have good tenants living next to them? I have the right to choose the best tenant for me, but I'm not going to put criminals, next to my good tenants. What a joke. This stuff is just so frustrating. It's so frustrating to me. I just hope that this new law that's being proposed will address the entire issue. We might see a law passed that strips local municipalities 100% of their ability to pass landlord tenant laws. Okay, I wouldn't mind that at this point, because they've gone so far to the left, they've lost their minds. Like I said, they're trying to build a little mini California within their borders, and it's not going to work. It's going to be a complete failure, and I'm 100% opposed to it.